Hello, internet friends. I'm Ryan, and this is Demos in the Dark. The world is opening up. Live music is returning. People are booking gigs, local gigs, tour gigs, and the bittersweet fly gig one off. And some of you out there may be getting ready to put together your fly board, and I'm not doing that anymore. Let me show you what I'm going to do from here on out. We're going to talk about the Line6 HX Stomp XL. The reason I said one-off fly gigs are bittersweet is because they're both great and not great at the same time. Great, you don't have to sit in a stinky van with other people and drive across certain states like Nebraska. Bad news is you have to leave most everything at home. You have to build yourself a fly rig, something that will fit in the overhead compartment. And your board usually consists of something like this, and you spend nights on end agonizing over what you consider to be essential and what you consider to be non-essential. No matter what, it's always going to be disappointing. Line6 asked me if I wanted to take a look at this HX Stomp XL, and while the multi-effect pedal is really not my thing, I found this thing to be super useful because what you can essentially do on here is build a ton of small pedal boards. And so you can assign those to songs, you can assign them to different types of music. And if you're gonna have to run direct at a gig, which happens, they even have amp modelers in here with cab modelers as well. So there is just a ton that you can get away with this thing right here. And I don't intend on ever going back to building a flyboard ever again. Let's run this down here on a mix. I'm just going to run through some guitar tracks and a little bit of Rhodes, and then come on back here and I'll show you how I use it. There's lots of different ways that you can use this thing because it is deep. I'm just going to show you quickly what I do. All right, let's take a deeper dive into the HX Stomp XL from Line6. And if I'm being totally honest, it's a very shallow dive into the HX Stomp. I have watched numerous tutorials on this, and they're all 40 plus minutes, and they kind of scratch the surface. There's just so much involved in this particular unit. And as I said in the intro, there are all different kinds of ways that you can even approach it, and all different kinds of ways that you can look at it, all different kinds of ways that you can set it up. For me, for this purpose, I'm going to talk about building different pedal boards essentially for your fly gig. So I am running a Heritage H150 into a Silktone amp, and that sounds like this. On the screen, what we have here is we have a preset. 01B is what the preset is called. And on that preset, we have 6 different effects that correspond with 6 different buttons here. So if we have just our clean signal here, and we want to add a tube drive on, or if we want to add some compressor, a little bit of EQ, some plate reverb, add some chorus on there. And some echo. So I want to show you just how easy it is to build a really great sounding preset, or as I'm calling them, a very great sounding pedal board in this thing. So you start out with a blank slate that looks like this. There's just nothing on it. So we can add, and if you look, you got distortion, dynamics, EQ, modulation, delay, reverb, pitch, synth, filter, wah, amp and cab combos, amps, cabs, IR loaders. You got everything here. So let's start with maybe some dynamics. We'll hit some compressors. We'll put that maybe at the front. Got the deluxe comp. I think we're going to go back. I mean, there are a ton of them. We're just going to go back up to the deluxe right now, and we'll call that good. So then we move over to the next slot, and what do we want to add in the next slot? We can add anything we want. Let's go with some distortion. Try that Minotaur. Okay, cool. So now let's add some modulation. Maybe we have some modulation on this particular song. And let's grab a little tremolo, maybe some harmonic tremolo. And then we'll grab some delay maybe. Then last, let's hit it with some reverb. So there you go. We built up a pedal board for a song. And let's say you know that where you're going to be flying to, you're going to have to run direct, or you just don't want to deal with whatever happens to be waiting for you on stage when you get there. Backline gear can be risky. You can add your own amplifier modeler here. So, we have all kinds of options and they all sound super duper good. So we are going with the US small tweed, and I went with just the head on that, so we are going to have to find a cabinet for it. So let's do that. We have the cabinet that is supposed to be for it. But we could use something else if we wanted to. We could use, an old... So, of course, when you build these pedal boards or these presets, you go in and you change the parameters of the pedals. You go in and you adjust the gain, you adjust the mix, you adjust the EQ, all of that stuff like you would typically in your own pedal board. And then for your virtual amps as well, you go in and you set your EQ and you change all this stuff there. We didn't do any of that stuff because I just really wanted to show the basics here and just really give you something to think about when you have fly gigs coming up, because there are so many variables. First off, you have to make so many concessions to whittle your way down to a very small board. Then on top of that, rented gear or backline gear, which is almost worse, there's just so many variables. And if you really want to do a good job and give yourself a little bit more peace of mind, I'm advising the HX Stomp XL because you can really just do just about anything you want with this puppy, and you can go as deep as you want or stay as light with it as you want, but it is a great sounding unit, and you can make sure that when you land where you're going and head to the venue, you're going to end up sounding the way you want to sound and the way you're used to sounding. And this is great for that. So thank you to Line6 for sending this over for me to check out, and I'm going to continue using it. And thank you to you for your time.